Members of the Fly Music Society, welcome back to the channel. So I've been doing a lot of new artists on the channel. I've yet to do a repeat of anybody else but Ren. So today we are going to do another Jinjer song. I'm super excited to get into Jinjer. Tatiana's voice was something that definitely took me by surprise. And after watching reaction videos after mine, I am not the only one, which is not surprising at all. But I wanted or listened to a song that kind of showcased the band a little bit more. And this was what people recommended to me. That was Teacher Teacher. So I'm really excited to get into this. These are the things I'm going to be listening for. I'm going to be listening for obviously what the band is playing, how they mesh together and how they mesh with their vocals. But I'm also going to listen for time changes. People were telling me in the comments that they're very notorious for their time signature changes. So that's what I'm going to be listening for. I'm very excited to get into this. I also heard that Vlad the drummer is a classically trained pianist who ended up learning drums for the band, which is pretty crazy considering the type of how good he is at it. But in case you guys are new here, what we do is we listen to the song. I interject here and there for things I think are important. And then at the end of the song, we talk about the music and we talk about the message. So that's what we do here. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Members are open on my channel and you can get cool perks like early access to my videos like this one right here. And also first pick in what videos I react to next. That's definitely up to you if you would like to do that. It is not expected nor required, but it is an option for you to support the channel. And I really do appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into this. I'm super stoked for this. Kind of have no choice. So let's get it.
My hand took me and placed me in front of a glass. She gave a hint I was in glow of the mass. I'm in the middle of the holy of holies.
Right there, I heard a little bit of like almost like a megaphone sound from the background vocals behind her, which is pretty interesting.
She gave a hint I was in glow of the mass. I'm in the middle of the holy
right there.
Of holies.
But I want to talk about this intro for the band. Oh, that's a pretty cool rhythmic pattern there that I really enjoy. It looks like it's just a chromatic change in chord progression, right? I think they're in A. It's just open string, right? It's going from A power chords to A sharp diminished. It's chromatic chord progression there. So they're just doing like a couple bars of A and A power chord and a couple bars of A diminished. Chromatic, and the diminished gives it even more of a tension sounding. It's really cool. I like that portion of the intro already. It's very, very different. And I think there's a time signature change. Let me see. Yeah. This is 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It looks like it's 4/4 to 2/4, 4/4 to 6/4. Something like that. It's a 4/2 scheme right there. That's really sick. All right, let's continue. Drop. So I want the heavy, like the adrenaline rush here is that they're still pretty much vamping that chromatic chord progression, right? Just playing A sharp, A sharp, A sharp, A sharp. It gives it that kind of feeling. And that's what they're going for. It's 100% what they're going for. I also want to talk about how the musicians, the guitarist, the bass player, the drums are all feeding off of her vocals. And I'll get deeper into that. But the rhythmic patterns, right, is they'll play their cool rhythmic patterns while she's not singing, and then when she's singing, they drop off. And then when she's not singing, they do their cool rhythmic patterns, and when she's not singing, they drop off.
She put a paper bag on my head. She pointed finger at me and then she said,
Let's go with the drop.
forgive me as I'm slapping this sinful child.
Wow.
I'm led, so I will show what is wrong and what is right. Choose your life because I'm merciful. Put your knuckles on the table, give my friends Pharaoh will punish you.
So the lyrics there, dear Lord, what'd she say? Dear Lord, forgive me as I'm slapping. She said that a few times, but so let me read it because I got it, but let me read it. Dear Lord, forgive me as I'm slapping this sinful child. Right. And the slapping is when she went into the tense vocals. Again, that's an intense moment. So she goes to the intense vocals, it matches, and the whole band does stops on there as well. So it all meshes and goes really well together. It's what I was looking for. By your hand I'm led, so I will show. Again, she goes into what is wrong and what is right. I don't know the story behind this. Obviously, it's about teacher basically assaulting a child, right? It sounds like, though, it's almost like a Catholic school type of thing. I never went to Catholic school, but I've heard horror stories, so this is crazy. Put your knuckles on the table, meet my friend Pharaoh who will punish you. These lyrics are crazy. Just like in Pisces, the things that she talks about are really deep and really emotional. So far, the band has been pretty good at meshing well with the vocals. So nobody's stepping on each other and so that nobody is overpowering anybody, which is really hard to do, but it's something that good composers or good musicians do when they're recording a song, is making sure nothing's too loud and nobody's playing over each other. All of that stuff is important. And that's what I'm hearing here. And that's the sound. That is the telltale sign of a good or great band when they can do that in the composition set. All right, let's go back a little bit. I'm going to try and not talk as much because it's a 6-minute song. The chorus. And I like this going back to kind of the slow melodic thing for the chorus. Teachers may be fools too. True.
Teachers may be fools too.
Oh my God. Holy shit, this bridge is crazy. Yeah, I have to go back. That's probably the coolest thing I've heard for a bridge in a long time. Okay, before I go, before I do that, there is a time signature change. I think it was like 4/4. It's like either in 4/4 and then 5/4, or it's in 9/4. This is crazy. That's crazy, guys. I really like time signature changes like that because more tense. It just gives the song a different feel. So I'm really into bands that do time signature changes and do them right. I want to go over this again. And the riff, by the way, that they're all playing is not easy because they're not playing. I'll play it later, but this bridge is crazy. I'm just gonna enjoy it. Double bass is crazy too. What the hell? I was sick. Laws chalked on the blackboard can't be erased until it gets boring. The lady spoke and then she choked on the convictions. Oh, so alluring. She made a pause in her verbal overdose. My paper bag slipped down on the floor. I took a look around. There was no sanctuary. Desks empty. School was all imaginary. Man, I feel like that's almost like a metaphor, or not a metaphor. Man, this could get deep. I feel like, for me at least, I feel like a lot of schools, especially in the US, not really schools, right? It comes to a certain point where a school stops teaching you things, and they can actually end up being detrimental. And I think that's what she's talking about here. And I really do believe that Catholic schools are like that, or at least they used to be back in the day, because they teach you about, in my opinion, things that don't matter as much for the real world. And I think that's how I'm interpreting these lyrics. I could be totally off base, but that's how I'm interpreting them. Pretty deep right there. Okay, I'm gonna go back a couple seconds.
Teacher, self-proclaimed preacher, burned on the back of welfare, no lectures stop to bear. We need no soap, shove down our throats, so keep your monologues and write in every mouth. I am a bad example of order. This life is not a prison, and you are not the warden. Please, teacher, leave us alone, as we accept
Like
our lessons from now on.
The background vocal overdub. Oh, that was crazy. I missed it. I like that little fade in of the instruments. That's cool. Melodic choices are always on point, man. The way she plays around with the scale, amazing. I like this. You know, chill, have some tea, you know. Chill, have some tea, talk about life. Nice little open chord structure.
Scream to me, throwing shame on my face as I turn.
It's a sick bass line.
From infamy and disgrace, I smile to you, 'cause I want you to see.
There's that megaphone background vocal again. Holy crap. Hold on. High vocals. Jesus. How I break the rules in front of your Trinity, your idols scream to me, throwing shame on my face as I turn away from infamy and disgrace. Oh, I smile to you, I smile to you, I smile to you. Yeah, she's saying she turns her back on everything they stand for. Basically, it's a disgrace. Their actions have made them infamous. That's pretty literal. And she smiles at him like, bye, see you later. I like it. Holy sh... Back to the bridge. Hey, that added bass line. Bro. Okay. We have a lot in the music to get to, so I think while while Pisces was a vocal showcase song for Tatiana, this song is probably my favorite. And it's not just because there's more of the band in it. That definitely helps. But it had, I again, this is only my second song, but I feel like this showcases more what the band is about. The cool time signature changes, how the instruments mesh together with the vocals, and the drops in the vocals lead to drops in the music. The drum patterns always lead back to the vocals. Like, it all meshes together and is so cool. And I'm a fan of bands who know how to do bridges or breakdowns. We'll get into RX Bandits a little bit later, but that's one of the reasons they're my favorite band. But they did a very good job with that. And that bridge is probably one of my favorite things I've heard in a long ass time. So this was sick. This was sick. I'm glad that I got into Jinjer because I want to hear more of this. I really do think that a lot of early rock music, let's talk about AC/DC real fast. Very simple, 3 chords. They have a verse, chorus, bridge, breakdown, whatever, chorus, outro. It's like their whole thing. They have some cool lines on there, blah, blah, blah. There's that spectrum of rock music, which is fun. It's fun and dandy. Then there's the other spectrum, which is like prog rock type of stuff where there's so much craziness, time signature changes. Nothing really meshes. There's no verse, there's no chorus. There's that. Then there's this happy medium, which is what we're getting with this, in my opinion, where you got this basic song structure of verse, chorus, bridge, and then you also have the cool time signature changes. You have the composition, the notable composition of a song where it's not just a rock song, but it's actually like this almost feels like a prog jazz type of song put into the dark metal realm, right? That's kind of how I think about it. Jazz is notorious for time signature changes, playing around with scales, playing around with chord changes, going to, you know, I think they did it on the interlude, I guess you would call it, where they got slow and I said I want to have a cup of tea. But they kind of went to like open chords, but they were playing around with the chord structure. I think they went to the 5 of the 5. I'll talk about that when we do the music, but it's so cool to see kind of a band like this, that great composition and great musical skills. We talked a little bit about like in Following in Reverse, where they're kind of genre bending. But even in that case, it's pretty simple. While the beats are really cool and kind of the cool stuff going on with the music is awesome, compositionally, it's very simple. This is in a different realm, right? They're using a lot of diminished chords, which we talked about before. And it's just the verses are chromatic, going up a half step, down a half step, up a half step, down a half step, which is purposeful in creating tension of the song and creating that intense, like I said, like it's almost like you're breathing in and holding it because of what's happening in the song. Basically, a kid getting beat by a teacher. All this stuff is really cool. And the composition goes with the lyrics. It all goes together. That's the type of music that I love. And this is probably one of my top 5 songs right now. That's how good this is. I really like this song. I want to get into the music and I want to get into the message real quick. But basically, you know, she's talking about being at a school, being picked on both mentally and physically by the teachers. Like I said, I don't know if this is a Catholic school or what, but from the sounds of it, it is. You guys know my thoughts on Catholicism and religion and stuff, but there's some horrible people out there. And I know back in the day, like, especially at Catholic schools and stuff, it was normal to get beat with a ruler and stuff like that. And everybody talks about how that's why kids behave. But I think if we actually look deep down at the repercussions of that, I think it's why a lot of people now, there's a higher rate of mental illness, there's a higher rate of anxiety. It's because of that. That's one of the causes, at least. That's how the song started, was talking about that kind of aspect of it. And then at the end, it's kind of her realizing that she doesn't have to take that. This is not the place for her. This is not a good place for her. So she denounces them essentially, and she leaves with a smile. See you later. I don't need this. So I really like that message a lot. But I want to get into music because that's really what excites me. So let's go ahead and get into the music right now. I will say I have a shitty free version of Guitar Amp software. I'm gonna fix that. Starting from my next video, I will have nice professional sounding stuff, so it sounds like ass. But that's what I'm gonna go with right now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play some of this stuff just because it's out of my comfort zone, but I'm gonna try and learn it for you guys. So let's go with the intro first. all that is again chromaticism. It starts off with the A, basically the A sharp diminished. And it goes back down to the A. So the first 4 bars are in 4/4, and then the last I guess the 5th bar is in 2/4. So it comes in on like the 3 of the first bar, but then the other 2nd, 3rd, and 4th bar are in 4/4, and the 5th bar is in 2/4. So that's pretty cool. The next part is the verse.
She clapped my hand, took me and placed me in front of a class. She gave me hints I wasn't glow of the mass.
They're playing around with the cool time signatures, but this time it's 4/4, and then the very end of the verse goes to 3/4 and then back to 4/4. So that's the verse, and they just repeat that with some blemishes on there. Get to the bridge. So this is pretty difficult. At first, if you're just listening to it and you're not actually paying attention, it kind of sounds like it's just open. That's super easy, but that's not what it is. So they're essentially playing that 8 sharp diminish, palm muted. So most bands will play just straight up power chords, especially when they're drop tuned like this, right? Because it's super easy. You can just bar the first 2 strings and it's all power chords, right? But that's not what they're doing. They're playing that diminished chord. Most of this so far is that A sharp, A chromatic, but this one was just so heavy and crazy. That's why it's my favorite part. My favorite part. That's a really cool part. All right, here we go. So this is like an interlude type of thing. So sounds like D5, A5, D5, D sharp. Yep. So yeah, so this interlude is actually so pretty straightforward there. That half cadence, what it's called when it ends on the 5 of that section, is just, it gives you that nice tingly feeling in you, but it doesn't fully resolve. So that's the point of that. This little section is pretty cool. They're just playing open chords, and then I think the rest of it's pretty straightforward. So the rest of it's repeated. Forgive the horrible sound of the guitar. It just is what it is at this point because I don't have the right stuff. When you're in drop tuning like that, like I said, everything is a little bit easier, but it gets to a certain point where keeping the tone of the strings actually gets harder. It's so loose that even pushing on the string a little bit harder can get you out of tune. So it goes from being easier to actually being harder. So I respect that they're able to sound as good as they do. That's pretty much it for what's going on with the guitars there. Like I said before, I really do like that the instruments kind of meld together. You can tell that this is a composition. It's not just playing power chords. They thought about, you know, what are the right chords for this next section to make it feel this certain type of way, to go with the lyrics. All these things are thought and come into mind. Like I said, it's almost like a jazz, contemporary or prog jazz put into dark metal is essentially how I would describe it, because that's what it sounds like. Chord possession, the type signature changes, all of that stuff. That makes sense to me. But I really liked this song. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. I really do appreciate everybody for the support. This was awesome. Probably my favorite Jinjer song yet. Appreciate you guys so much for the support. Thanks so much. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.